Buenos días, estudiantes. This is the follow-up video to the subjunctive. As you know, my first video was for the first part of the subjunctive that was included in chapter 11. This video comprises the subjunctive video number 2 and number 3 that you would need to look over in order to complete all the activities for chapter 12. So this video is in fact two videos that are together. If you look at your day-to-day calendar, I have put two extra videos that I'm going to do on the subjunctive, and I have named them 2 and 3. This video covers both 2 and 3. So in the first video of the subjunctive that I posted last week, I told you that in order to use a subjunctive, you needed to use sentences that express volition or influence, emotion, doubt or uncertainty. And they have to be followed after que. Que will unite two sentences, and each sentence will have its own subject. Okay? So on the first video, we covered volition and influence. In this video, I will cover emotion, doubt, and uncertainty. And those two groups follow the same rules as the volition and influence. The overall theme of these groups is uncertainty. For example, on the first group, volition and influence, you want something to happen, but that doesn't mean it will. Uncertainty. Emotion. You may feel a certain way about a situation, but that doesn't mean that the situation will change. That doesn't mean that that situation is any better. It is just your feelings. Doubt and uncertainty. Just the same, the actual word to doubt is the main verb that we use. Or anything in the negative. I don't believe that this happens. You're creating uncertainty. Okay. So first I'll talk about emotion and then about doubt and uncertainty. So, emotions. These are the verbs that you will usually see in the exercises that you're covering online. Alegrarse de, esperar, gustar, molestar, preocuparse de o preocuparse por, quejarse de, sentir, sorprender, tener miedo de. And the ones that I see used a lot is alegrarse de, esperar, gustar, and sentir. Okay. I have a few examples here. So notice how the emotions clause follow the exact same structure as the subjunctive sentences with volition and influence. But instead of I want you to, or I'm expecting you to, or I prefer that you do this, these are all it is sad, I like that, I'm happy that, it bothers me that. Okay, let's see the first example. Es triste, it is sad. And then it's right followed by que. Es triste que el niño tenga hambre. It's sad that the kid has hunger. In English, we would just say has. In Spanish, because it is a sentence of emotion, it needs the subjunctive. So the present indicative is crossed out on my slide. It's not el niño tiene, but el niño tenga hambre. Es triste que el niño tenga hambre. Next example. Me gusta que. I like that. Me gusta que la familia vaya al parque. So the indicative, the present indicative, is la familia va. But because it is an emotion, it has que uniting two sentences, and it's got two different subjects, then we use the subjunctive. Me gusta que la familia vaya al parque. Next example. Me alegro. I'm happy that. You are here. In English, we just use the indicative, the present. In Spanish, we need the subjunctive because it meets all of the criteria. Me alegro de que tú estés aquí. The AR verbs have the ER endings. So as goes to es. Estás, estés. Molesta, it is bothersome. Molesta que el restaurante no está, because that is the present indicative, but the subjunctive in the present. Esté cerrado. It's bothersome that the restaurant is closed. Que el restaurante esté cerrado. So those are the examples of how to use the subjunctive with emotions. And I just want to go over the verbs again. Alegrarse de, esperar, gustar, molestar, preocuparse de o preocuparse por, quejarse de, to complain, yo me quejo de, sentir, siento que estés triste, I'm sorry you're sad, siento que estés triste, sorprender y tener miedo de, to be afraid of. So in order to express not only emotion but an opinion, we use impersonal expressions. Like, it's good, it's important, it's impossible, it's logical, it's better, it's necessary, it's ridiculous, it's a shame. We use these expressions because we want to distance ourselves from our own opinion, usually. So we say it is good, it is bad. We don't say, I think it's good, I think it's bad. So that's why we call them impersonal. These are just phrases that we use all the time to qualify the world. That is good, that is bad. But in the sentence, there's never an I. It's always that is good, that is bad. We make assumptions as to what it is based on our own opinion. We use the subjunctive with the impersonal expressions. The reason why is because these are opinions, and even though you are assessing the world with these sentences, that does not mean that your opinion is for certain the truth or what everybody else holds to be the truth. That's why when you use impersonal expressions, you need to use the subjunctive. Es bueno, that is your own opinion. Es malo, that is your opinion. Es importante, that is your opinion. That's not necessarily true for everybody. Es posible, es imposible, es lógico, es mejor, es necesario, es ridículo, es una lástima. So when you use these expressions, you need to add que right after them, and whatever comes after will be in the subjunctive. For example, es bueno que tú estudies. It's good that you study. Es bueno que tú estudies. In the regular present, estudiar should be estudias, right? Because it's an AR verb. But remember, the AR verbs changed endings with the ER verbs. So because it is in the subjunctive, it's estudies. Okay? Let's look at some other examples. Es bueno que tú not estudias, but estudies. It is just an impersonal expression that doesn't mean it's the truth, okay, for everybody, okay? Es malo que ellos, it missed an N, the one crossed out. Es malo que ellos not comen, but coman 5 pizzas. Es imposible que él not es, but the irregular subjunctive for to be, sea tu hermano. Es imposible que él sea tu hermano. Es lógico que nosotros queramos una casa nueva. Y es necesario que ustedes busquen, not buscan, un trabajo diferente. As you can see, the impersonal expressions follow the same structure as the previous two groups, the emotions and the volition of influence. First, there's the expression, right after there's que, and you need two subjects. In the first case is the English it, and on the second one is tú, ellos, él, nosotros, ustedes. So the structure is complying with all of the rules in order to use the subjunctive. And there is uncertainty about the topic. That may be your assessment of the situation, but that does not mean it's true for everybody. Okay. So there are some impersonal expressions that express certainty, and with these you cannot use the subjunctive because they are expressing that there is no doubt whatsoever that what they are saying has happened or that it is like that. So these are exceptions. When you use es obvio, es cierto, es seguro, es verdad, meaning it's obvious, it's true, it's certain, it's the truth, then you use the regular present indicative. Do not use the subjunctive because these impersonal expressions are saying that is obvious that this is what's happening. There's no uncertainty in that sentence whatsoever. It is true. They're saying that is the truth, that is the fact. There is no certainty. There is no uncertainty whatsoever. When you say it's true, it's certain, it's obvious. So with these impersonal expressions, do not use the subjunctive. Use the present indicative, the one you know and love from Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. Let's look at these examples. Es obvio que Teresa tiene mejores oportunidades en San Jose. It's obvious that Teresa has better opportunities. Es cierto que Costa Rica no tiene ejército. It's true that Costa Rica has no army. Es seguro que este arroyo está contaminado. It's for sure that this stream, that this river, is contaminated. Es verdad que la vida en las grandes ciudades es muy acelerada. So all of these expressions, impersonal expressions, cannot use the subjunctive because they are not expressing certain uncertainty. But these are just opinions, and these can have that they can be the truth or not. Es bueno, es malo, es importante, es imposible, es lógico, es mejor, es necesario, es ridículo, es una lástima. These assessments are not for certain. These, the next two, however, the next four, however, are certain. It's obvious. It's true. It's certain. Okay. In this chapter, you will also see this word, ojalá, which is used in Spanish very, very often. I think I use ojalá 7, 8, 9 times every day. This is let's hope that, I hope that, and if only. Okay, so ojalá is very used in conversation Spanish. Okay, and you are expressing a hope that something will happen. But since it's unrealized, it has not yet happened, so the future is uncertain. You don't know if it will or not, but that is your hope that it happens. You use the subjunctive always when you use ojalá. And it's a really nice word, ojalá. Let's hope that, I hope that, and if only. So like I said, when you see ojalá, you will always use the subjunctive. And when you use ojalá, when you write it down, you will use que. But in conversation, que can be omitted. It's not obligatory with ojalá because ojalá is always the subjunctive, is always in the subjunctive. So people sometimes feel that they don't need it. So it is completely perfect to say ojalá que and ojalá without que. So let's look at some examples. So I hope you have a good time in Costa Rica, right? Ojalá, I hope that. Ojalá que lo pases bien en Costa Rica. Let's hope the weather is good there. Ojalá haga buen tiempo allá. See, in here, there's no que. It is not needed. So this is probably a sentence that would be used in conversation. Ojalá haga. And that is the subjunctive. Haga instead of hace, right? Ojalá haga buen tiempo allá. And the last one, I hope you receive this letter. It is my hope you receive it, but it's uncertain, if you will. Ojalá que recibas esta carta. Not recibes, but recibas. More examples. Ojalá, I hope that, ¿sí? Ojalá que tu hermano not encuentra, because encuentra is the present indicative, but encuentre trabajo. Ojalá mi familia tenga un mejor año. I hope that my family has a better year. If we don't know if that will come to pass, we can just hope. So the future is uncertain. So you don't use mi familia tiene, because by using the indicative, you're stating a fact. Like we're saying, my family has a dog. Mi familia tiene un perro. That is a fact. You use the indicative. But because here the future is uncertain, you're using ojalá. Instead of tiene, you say tenga. Ojalá mi familia tenga un mejor año. I hope, it is the hope that my family has a better year. Ojalá que mi hijo me hable por teléfono. I hope that my son calls me, talks to me over the phone. So we don't say habla, we say hable, because the endings between the AR endings and the ER endings have switched. Okay. Ojalá que mis estudiantes estudian, no, because we're using ojalá. Estudien, because the endings have switched. The A has been switched for the E. Ojalá que mis estudiantes estudien para el examen. Okay, so that is the first grammar point for the course for chapter 12. We saw the group that's emotions, that is the impersonal expressions, and ojalá. Later on in the chapter, you will see the third group, the third grammar point for the subjunctive, which is verbs that express in themselves doubt or uncertainty. So these are very easy to determine because it's usually doubt, the verb to doubt, and expressions that are of certainty but with negation. So I believe is an expression of certainty, but if you say I don't believe, it becomes an expression of uncertainty and it needs the subjunctive. In the affirmative, it doesn't need the subjunctive because you are saying I believe this will happen. That is uncertain because that's what you believe. But if it's in the negation, if it's negated, then you are putting a cloud of uncertainty into a sentence that was full of certainty. So let's look at these. So the verbs that you'll be seeing a lot is dudar, to doubt, es dudoso, which is an expression, an impersonal expression, right? It's doubtful, es dudoso. And then you will see expressions of certainty, but in the negative. The negative has changed them to sentences of uncertainty. So, to believe, so no creer. No es cierto. So it's not, it's uncertain. It's not true. No estar seguro, to be uncertain. No pensar, to not think. So when you give your opinion and you say, I think this is what we should do, then because that's what you believe in the present affirmative without the negation, then you use the present indicative like you've used in Spanish 1 and 2. But if you put it in the negative, then it needs the subjunctive. Let's look at some examples, like dudar, for example. Dudo que Rona conserve energía. I doubt that Rona conserves energy. So it's not Rona conserva, but conserve. Es dudoso, it's doubtful, que haya mucha agua pura. It's doubtful that there is much pure water. And you see, these sentences are conforming to all the criteria in order to use the subjunctive. It is a sentence of uncertainty. It has que in the middle, joining the two sentences, and you have two subjects. Dudo que Rona conserve. Es dudoso que haya mucha agua. It's doubtful that there is much water. How about all these sentences that have been negated and thus changed from certainty to uncertainty? So instead of believe, I don't believe. No creo que salvemos el planeta. Very grim. I don't believe that we will save the planet. We don't know what will happen, but this is what I believe, that we won't. No es cierto. No es cierto que tengamos suficientes recursos naturales. It's not true that we have enough natural resources. No estoy segura o no estoy seguro de que el reciclaje ayude. I'm not sure that recycling helps. And to not think, no pensar. No pienso que debamos seguir. I don't think that we should continue like this. So debamos is in the subjunctive. In the present indicative would be debemos. So if I were to put these sentences that are negated here in the affirmative with just taking out the no part, then all of them would have to be in the indicative present and not the subjunctive. So for example, no creo. If I take the no out, the verb will also change. Creo que salvamos el planeta. I believe we are saving the planet. Without the no es cierto, without the no, the verb will change from the subjunctive to the indicative. Es cierto que tenemos suficiente, because you're stating a fact you believe in. No estar seguro. So if you're not sure, but now you're going to be, the verb will change from the subjunctive to the indicative. So, estoy seguro de que el reciclaje ayuda. The reason why you're using the subjunctive is that no part at the beginning, negating a sentence that is expressing certainty. It poses doubt on whatever the statement is. So you need to use the subjunctive when using no at the beginning.